Hey guys, and welcome to all of our viewers. This is TMH English program, and we're back this week with great conversations, content, and even greater guests. This week's guest is a musician from the West Coast, but even more importantly, he's an ally against this fight on this ongoing genocide that's taking place in Tigray. Thank you so much for joining us, Kevin. How are you?
Hey, I'm fine. Thank you, Hafte. Very nice to be here.
I was saying this before we got on air, but even the accent is on point with your Tigrinya, so I love that. But if you could
Oh,
introduce
thanks. I'm
yourself
trying.
to our viewers, your name, where you from?
So my name's Kevin Thomas. Most people call me Kevi. I'm from the West Coast, out here in California for my whole life. Moved a few places up north, down south, but for the most part here in the Bay Area.
Okay, so you grew up in the Bay Area. Give me a little more information on your childhood, how you grew up, the values that were instilled in you as a child.
Well, just growing up here in California, just kind of I would think of it just as sort of an average, like white middle class background. I did go to school with a lot of people like Latino people, Spanish. I speak Spanish pretty well just because I was kind of immersed down in the Los Angeles area with a lot of Spanish speakers, and my parents really raised us, my sister and I, with like a really kind of an open mind, like an international kind of worldview. And um, as growing up, I kind of thought, everybody was like that. But then as I got a little older, I started to see, racism and things like that. And it just really made me feel really uncomfortable when I'd see it and hear things and, jokes and those kind of things. So I've always tried. I mean, obviously, we all have are raised in our culture and we get kind of biases, but I've tried to kind of see those and be aware of them, and that's sort of where I'm coming from.
Absolutely. As I mentioned, you are a musician. How long have you been doing music? Did you pick up an instrument as like a child? Was that always in you, or when did you start doing music?
Well, I started really when I was in high school. I always wanted to play the guitar, and I had a friend who was really good at guitar, and so he taught me a few chords. I was into kind of like classic rock, Led Zeppelin, that kind of stuff. I've always been mostly like a strummer, not much of a lead guitar player. But and then I really got into reggae kind of at the end of my high school, and then reggae music sort of just took over my whole um, desire to play music, and so I
Would you
started writing
say,
songs.
yeah, sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt. Would you say that's your genre of music now, is reggae?
pretty much. Yeah, yeah, pretty much reggae.
Okay. And you started
Yeah,
writing music in high school?
I started writing music a little bit in college. Um, Writing some songs, playing a lot of Bob Marley songs, Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Jimmy Cliff. Those are the big influences on me, as well as a ton of other Jamaican singers, so many. And yeah, I started to write some reggae songs and form little bands and play them out, but I never really had a lot of, success, or I wasn't, um, discovered or something. I never had a big break or anything like that.
Was it always a hobby, or did you actually want to pursue it as a career?
It's always been a hobby just because I've had to work, to make ends meet and stuff. And as a musician, it's really hard to do that, to just be a professional musician. So it's been a hobby. I've kept it up, and when I get inspired, I'll write a song.
Okay. Do you
Yeah.
have any other artistic ways of expressing yourself, your feelings?
I love photography.
Mm,
I take a lot of
love-
pictures. Yeah. I love
Like
taking
street
pictures out in
photography?
like landscape photography, like out in nature, things like that.
That's cool. Do you have any work up on your page? I don't recall seeing those.
I have a few of my photos up on my Instagram page. Yeah, some pictures out in nature, like the sun going through trees and like landscape vistas. And on my stories, I usually post a lot because I'm a landscaper. And so usually every day I'll take pictures out in the gardens that I take care of, of like the light hitting different flowers. And if I see the light looking really pretty, I'll try to take some shots. And sometimes I try to add some words to it so that the words kind of go along with the image and can kind of give like almost like a philosophical little outlook.
Right. That's so
Yeah.
cool. I've never, I don't know how to take pictures, let alone be in them. But has your reggae love and the Rasta lifestyle ever taken you to Africa or visited Ethiopia?
No, I've never been to Africa yet or
Mm.
Ethiopia, but I've had a couple of very generous offers since my song came out and since I've met a few Tigrayan people back in July on Instagram. Some of the people I've met some of the most amazing people from Tigray that are all over the world, like in the diaspora, and some like in still living in Ethiopia.
Right.
And I've had a couple of really nice invitations. I'd love to take you guys up on them when the war's
You heard
over.
it here
Yeah.
first. Absolutely. And you did mention your song. So your song mentions the Tigray genocide. It's for Tigray. Specifically in the song, you account to the fact that it is a genocide. When were you first familiar with the situation, the conflict, the war that's taking place? When's the first time you heard about it, found out about it?
Well, the first time I heard about it was back in November on Instagram. There's a person that I used to follow, a Rasta person, and she posted something on her Instagram about the thing that I saw was Christians are being massacred in Ethiopia, and I was like, what? So I looked into the post and I saw where it was, and honestly, I had never heard of Tigray. If you would have asked me a year, before November 4th, where is Tigray on the map, I would be like, I don't know. I just had no idea. And so then I looked into it and I said, what? And this is back when just very, very spotty information was coming out
Right.
about what was happening there. And so I was following her for a while. She was posting about it. And then all of a sudden her post stopped. And I was like, why? And I still heard things going on. But I started to question more about what was happening. And I was posting a lot on my stories about what was going on. And then a Tigrayan woman saw my stories and she reached out to me and she kind of asked me, how did I hear about Tigray? And we started talking. And I asked her a question. I said, what do Tigrayans think about Haile Selassie? Because I was thinking, as a Rasta, that Haile Selassie has as a figurehead in the world in terms of like morality, and like I thought of him as like this Pan-Africanist who was like a great moral character, and the people of Ethiopia looked to him like a father figure and a protector of the nation against foreign invasion. And so I said, what do Tigrayans think about Haile Selassie? And she told me that Haile Selassie was you know a, a real, she said he was a butcher. She talked about when he bombed Tigray in 1943 with the help of the British Air Force. And when he starved them to try to starve Tigrayans into submission for not going along with his forced Amharitization program and making the Tigrayan culture basically illegal, you know, making everyone speak Amharic, all these different things, and not honoring the Tigrayan culture and the Tigrayan ways of self-governance and things. And so I said to myself, well, this is not God. If Rastafari is supposed to be God, God doesn't bomb his people. God doesn't starve people. And so that was it for me. I cut off my dreadlocks. I started looking into things more, and I just said, I'm not Rasta anymore.
Wow. Well, how does the silence of the world, and in terms of responding, in terms of taking action, make you feel as being a part of the global community?
It's really shocking, and it's embarrassing. It's a shame on the people of the international community that actually have the power to do something to affect change. We as ordinary citizens that are in this situation of observing what's happening, there's not a lot we can do, but we can speak out about it. We can write to our Congress people and encourage the ones that are actually already doing things, such as, I'm going to give a shout out to Congressman Brad Sherman down in Southern California. He's doing a great job of advocating for Tigray. I think he's one who I would say is taking the lead in terms of the United States effort to really push for stricter sanctions, for more accountability to those that are responsible for war crimes and atrocities from the Eritrean side, the Ethiopian government, from the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. He's a war criminal, and he's holding a Nobel Peace Prize, and it's a disgrace. It's just horrible.
Absolutely. And they just most recently passed another bill with Malinowski as well. So that's great news.
I
And
saw that. I saw that. That's good news. That is good
absolutely.
news.
Absolutely. Any plans? I know you said you've already received invitations to visit the motherland. Do you have any plans of visiting Tigray once this war is over?
Yeah, I would definitely love to take up a couple of very nice offers that some friends have made me to come visit Tigray. I would love to go visit there after the war is over, and just see the people and experience the culture. It's such a beautiful culture.
Indeed, it
Your
is.
people are so resilient and so beautiful, and have such a strong moral character. And I'm just amazed. Just very impressed with everything I've met, everyone I've met from Tigray.
If you had a
Yeah.
message for the community back home in Tigray right now, what would you tell them?
Geez, I would just like to tell them that the world is watching some of us, and we do care about what's happening. We care about you, and we would love to be able to do something to help. And I personally am not going to stop speaking out, singing my song, raising awareness however I can to try to bring an end to this horrible war in Tigray.
Absolutely. And we are here to talk about your amazing song that you just mentioned. It's called A Song for Tigray. Before I get into it, let's just play the clip of a little snippet of the song and then we'll be right back.
How can this be happening? Covering her face as she cries. How many more will have to die to call this a genocide? But there's no mountain too high, and there's no river that's too wide. And while the world turns a blind eye, we're gonna stand up with Tigray. We'll stop the genocide. Tigray, no more Ethiopia. Stop the genocide in Tigray, no more Ethiopia.
Well, welcome back. We just heard the clip of the snippet of your new song, A Song for Tigray. It's a beautiful song, honestly.
Thank
And
you
the
so much.
fact that you unapologetically call it a genocide, or it is a genocide in your song, is courageous because we all know the entire world has failed to do so thus far. Um, what what made you want to write and dedicate a song to Tigray?
Um, I didn't know. I mean, I had this melody in my head for a few years actually of a song. The na 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 na. And so I didn't know. And then I had a dream where in my dream I was in this bombed out city, and I heard that song, and there were some people in my dream that were motioning for me to come, like to get out of the way of the fire. And so I was coming and kind of sheltering with them. And then I heard about Tigray, and then I said, well, maybe this song should be for Tigray, because I had the song and the image in my head and the melody, and then it just fit. the words fit with the melody that I had. And so I started going from there, and I had seen a lot of footage of the beauty of like the mountains of Tigray, and just read a lot about the history of what's gone on up in those mountains and the strong resistance, with Rasa Lula and Emperor Johannes IV being the real defenders of Ethiopia during the time of the scramble for Africa, when the Italians were coming in, and Johannes and Rasa Lula had to go defend against them. And meanwhile, Menelik was down in the south consolidating his land and just brutalizing the Oromo people. And it just, the history of it, and the fact that Menelik gets all this credit for being this great unifier and everything, when he was actually like a colonialist and he was brutally oppressive. I said, I want to tell a story with this song. I want to say, just give some credit where credit is due to the Tigrayan heroes. It just kind of came to me. It was like, I wanted the war to be over. I wanted it to be done after I wrote that first little verse, and I posted my post up in the hills, and I just had one verse written. And I said, gosh, I just hope this war is over. Because it's such a sad song for me when I sing it, because I know it's such a horrific thing that's going on over there. I just wanted it to end. But since it wasn't ending, it's still not ending. I said, well, I'll finish the song. And so I just, well, I'm a gardener and a landscaper. So while I'm at work, I'm just working with the plants, and I've got the lyrics going in my head, and I start writing little stuff down, and I talk to friends in Tigray, on Instagram, and sharing my ideas with them. And it just kind of came from a lot of different sources, and it just sort of came to me. And so I didn't really choose it. I felt like it kind of chose me.
Beautiful way to put it. And the outcome, the end result is so beautiful.
Thank you so much.
And your knowledge on Ethiopian history is also extremely commendable. So thank you for that. I know you have your guitar next to you. If you wanted to give us a little live show of the song, that'd be great.
Sure, I'll strum a couple verses of it.
Please.
Thank you. No more Ethiopia, walking along an old road, high up in the mountains, yeah, in Tigray, Ethiopia, in Tigray, Ethiopia. They're coming in like a wildfire, unleashing hell on the land, unspeakable atrocity, committed with impunity. Oh, war, but stop the genocide in Tigray, no more Ethiopia. Stop the genocide in Tigray, no more Ethiopia. How can this be happening? Covering her face as she cries. How many more will have to die? Call this a genocide. War. Well, there's no mountain, it's too high. And there's no river that's too wide. While the world turned a blind eye, we're gonna stand up with Tigray to stop the genocide in Tigray, no more Ethiopia. Stop the genocide in Tigray, no more Ethiopia. Thank you.
That was so good. Thank you. I think the most important part of the song is that our proceeds will be going back to Tigray. So if you wanted to let the people know how they can purchase your song, where they can find it, all platforms.
Yes, definitely. Like you said, all the proceeds, every penny that comes into me from that song, I have an agreement with the producer, Sonic Alchemist, who that's a whole another story how I got to meet up with him. He's the lead guitar player in the song. When you listen to the song and you hear that just blazing lead guitar, that's my friend Sonic Alchemist.
Did he play that live? It's produced, or?
He played that live. I was right there sitting in his studio, and he just he played it one time. It was one take, and I was sitting. But see, we had gotten together a couple of times over about a month or a month and a half and played it acoustic a bunch of times, and we were gonna record the acoustic version and post it. And then he said, "Hey, why don't we just get in the studio and record it like that?" So he played the bass. We picked a drum track, and then I called up my friend in Argentina, and he played the keyboards. And I have a friend in Japan, and he played the tambourine and the hand percussion. And then I called up another friend, and he did the backup vocals that you hear in there. And then it was mixed by Umberto Eco over in Germany. Really great mix master engineer.
Wow, a global effort for sure.
And I'd like to mention one thing. You're right, it's totally global. And the icing on the cake for me, I have a great photographer here locally. He took a lot of those pictures. But I needed a graphic for the cover, and what I had planned fell through. And so I reached out to Yamani Studio, and I asked him if he would do the cover for me. So I sent him a couple photos, and he liked the one that we chose. And then he did that great design on the side where it shows the map of Tigray and then Eritrea and Ethiopia. And it's like this pulling apart, and it's a really amazing graphic that he did. And so I just want to give him a shout out. And having a Tigrayan artist work on the effort really just kind of tied it all together for me. I just really wanted to include someone from Tigray, so I'm glad we were able to do that. And I would have liked to have had a musician, Tigrayan musician, on there and play some on there too. So maybe in the future I'll be able to do
remix.
that.
There's always a remix, right?
There you go. Yeah.
So what platforms can they find your music on?
Yes. So on iTunes and Apple Music, if you go and purchase it, look up Kevi. That's KEV-I. I have a link in my Instagram, which is KevINI Music. And on there's a link to the Spotify. I don't have a link yet to the Apple Music and iTunes, but it is available there if you go and purchase it. And so, like I said, every dollar we earn is going to be donated to some Tigray Relief Fund. And I'm still looking into how I'm going to plug into which organizations I'm gonna be able to support with that. So
Absolutely.
Please go buy the single, play it, spread awareness. Let's see if we can make some change.
Yes, guys, his Instagram platform is KevinINI Music. The song is called A Song for Tigray. You can find it on Spotify and iTunes, as he just said. And there's a lyric in your song that says, "As the world turns a blind eye," which they have. The entire international community has failed to take any action. If you had the last words for them, what would that be?
I would say that they need to follow their conscience and act, because they're the ones that have the power to do so, and so they need to do that. I dedicate that verse and a big part of this song to members of the international community that can actually affect some change. I need them to do that. We really want them to. And also another thing I wanted to say is that when I say to stop the genocide, no more Ethiopia, I'm aiming that verse, I'm aiming that message to the population of Ethiopia as a whole, because until public opinion inside of Ethiopia changes towards Tigray and the people of Tigray, their brothers and sisters, until the public opinion changes, then I don't see how there can be an end to this war. And to those ones that are preaching false doctrines of hate from the pulpit, like and brainwashing the people, I don't have words for those people. That's just a horrible misuse of their leadership, and they need to change and stop doing that too.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your advocacy. Thank you for unapologetically standing for the people of Tigray. I know they can't say it, but we'll say it for them. We always need an ally, and it's great to have you as one. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really honored to be part of this struggle with you guys. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back for some more next week. Bye-bye.